Good afternoon, everyone, and welcome to Stock Market Today. Ali Corman, Ken Shreve here to break down the action in today's session, where we saw some sellers coming into the market late, Ken, into the close.
Yes, we did. I mean, the NASDAQ composite was up about 0.6% intraday. It ended, it looks like, with a loss of about 0.2%. We could have a very mild distribution day for the S&P 500, but I do have three stocks to look at that are acting pretty well here. We'll take a look at Olaplex, showing bullish action in the security software group. Tenable looking pretty good, and Lamar Advertising, a turnaround story.
All right. Well, always good to keep that watch list fresh. We'll check in on those names after we take a look at the action in the major indexes here today. So as you can see, this chart a little bit delayed here, but the NASDAQ finishing with a loss of about 0.2%, as you mentioned, Ken. The Dow down 0.25%, the S&P 500 down 0.3%, and the Russell 2000 eking out a gain of about 0.2%. But it looks like all in all, we're holding roughly in the same range that we've been holding in the last couple of days. Not a whole lot of damage by the end of the day.
Right, a lot of low volume gains for the NASDAQ when it moved back above its 50-day moving average, and frankly, we're going to have three straight declines for the NASDAQ here, and volume has been very, very light to the downside. So, what's important to keep in mind is that we're still in a confirmed uptrend, and hopefully January will be a good month for the stock market. Maybe a little disconcerting to see this sell program come in late today, but in the end, the declines ended up being pretty modest, and the gains weren't that big ever today. So,
right, and all in all, not all too surprising, as we've been saying, with such strong power that we saw last week, to have a little bit of a pause here.
Yeah, I mean, the Nasdaq came down to 15,000, and then over 4 days just rocketed higher. I mean, those were four meaningful percentage gains on each of those days. So a little bit of consolidation here below the 16,000 level. I know a lot of technicians are happy to see it. The question is the Nasdaq going to be able to eventually break out over this 16,000 level? We'll have to see.
Yeah, and IWM on the upside today. So we'll go ahead and check in there. Although it looks like a little bit of continued resistance right around that 200-day.
Yeah, isn't that interesting? The pictures that these charts show. You can see on Tuesday it tried to get back above that 200-day moving average, reversed below it. It was up yesterday, and then the IWM today had a nice percentage gain. It was by far the leading stock index, but it paired a big part of that gain, and it's finding getting some resistance at that 200-day line.
Okay, well, now let's take a look at some names on your radar, Ken, including Olaplex, OLPX, a strong mover today, up about 6%. It is the quiet holiday week, so volume doesn't look like it was quite there behind the move. But on a weekly chart, I mean, this is looking pretty interesting, Ken, for this new issue that definitely has that new factor going on for it.
Yeah, absolutely. This stock got a lot of attention on IBD Live this morning. This is the weekly chart showing a classic first stage consolidation. This company came public, I believe, in late September, early October, at around $21 a share. But this is a nice base setting up. These are the types of charts that you want to be focused on in the early part of 2022, because stocks tend to make their biggest moves in the early stages of their business, and this is a new issue with a new product and service that's fueling very, very strong growth. So go back to the daily chart here, and you did get an early entry today as the stock is basing. You can see there's a little trend line that you can draw there, and broke out powerfully over that recent high of 28.09, and volume was light, but it was the heaviest in 7 or 8 or six sessions or so. But yeah, so good day for Olaplex.
Yeah, and I think I'm convinced to try the products for research purposes, of course, but I'm interested in what they're like, so I'll have to report back.
Well, my 20-year-old daughter.
Oh, she can let us know.
She knew Olaplex well. So
Yeah, it's trending right now. Very trendy. All right. Well, let's also take a look at Tenable in the security software group, which is actually ranked 19 out of the 197 groups that we track, which can't be said about some of the other software industry groups. But Tenable on a nice run here over the last couple of weeks, looking to clear that 56 area.
yeah, because it's moved, pretty much straight up from 45 to just over 55. I would not be surprised to see this kind of maybe pull back closer to the 55, 54 level. But this is, we like these big long consolidations, and Tenable's consolidation started all the way back in January, and it pulled back and is just kind of forming this big base here. But you can see 3 straight weekly gains and another one taking shape this week. It's right just below a pivot point. So if this market can hold itself together, and maybe we see some new signs of institutional buying in the early part of 2022, this could deliver a breakout. Like the annual earnings estimates, like the recent revenue growth in recent quarters, it is, in a time when a lot of multiple high PE stocks have really come in hard. It's just interesting that this one is still sitting near highs with a triple digit, trailing PE ratio. So.
Yeah, it looks like a slight slowdown in earnings and into next year expected, but that revenue growth, how steady is that quarter
Yeah,
after quarter?
exactly. That's what you want to see. You see the earnings were down 22% year over year, but that could have just been a one-time thing. But yeah, I think it's an interesting name in the security software group. We used to talk about Zscaler and CrowdStrike and a lot of these stocks, but there's Zscaler kind of trying to get back above its 50-day moving average after a sharp sell-off, and CrowdStrike was a top performer in the group. That's come under a lot of selling pressure. So Tenable
Yeah.
is kind of sticking out here, like Palo Alto Networks, two good charts in the security software group when a lot of software stocks have been under pressure.
And Fortinet as well, one of our long-term leaders, still holding strong. And
Absolutely.
yeah, let's check out the turnaround story in Lamar Advertising. So working on a cut base here, plenty of up sessions in the last couple of weeks versus down sessions. Looks like there's a special dividend, but we don't have another earnings report coming up until around late February. It looks like that at least is estimated when the next quarter is coming out.
Yeah, so you can see after 2 quarters of declining sales, look at the sales has really ramped up in recent quarter or over the past 2 quarters for Lamar Advertising, and the also has really good annual earnings estimates. And estimates have been going higher. So call this turnaround story because you can see sales growth has struggled a lot, due to COVID, and but the past 2 quarters sales have ramped up, and this is just a good example of a stock, forming a nice base here after a pretty lengthy uptrend. It came down to its 40-week moving average, has started working its way higher, and it's right at the top of this shallow consolidation. So another stock that's acting well in this market, and definitely should be on the radar.
Yeah, and not a lot of stocks have relative strength lines that have been outperforming the S&P for the last 18 months, and maybe some, flatlining here and there, but all in all, Lamar looks like it's on the up and up.
Yeah, it's a good looking, when a stock bases and consolidates gains, you want to see on the weekly chart, especially, you want to see just kind of smooth weekly price action. You don't want to see these, crazy wide and loose, erratic, weekly price swings, and you really don't have that with Lamar. So it's a well formed base, and the stock is acting pretty well here.
All right. Well, thank you for breaking all of that down for us, Ken, and for everyone for tuning in. But wait, there's more this week. We do have a full day of trading tomorrow on New Year's Eve. So why don't you help IBD ring in the new year on IBD Live tomorrow, everyone? We hope you join us for our last daily morning live stream of the year. Investors.com/IBD Live for all the details. We'll see everyone there at 9:20 a.m. Eastern sharp. Looking forward to ringing a new year. I mean, between 2020 and everything that 2020 threw at us, in 2021 threw just as much at us in a different sort of way in the market. It'll be interesting to see what next year brings, Ken.
Yeah, no question about it. Loved listening to Charles Harris this morning on IBD Live, who is, has always seems to have a bullish slant, but I know he picked that up from Bill O'Neill, and he thinks that next year there's going to be a lot of new, exciting companies that are going to, present some very, very good profit opportunities. So it may be Olaplex, it may not, but I think there's reasons to be optimistic about next year, and we'll hope for a good start to the year in January.
All right. Thanks, Ken. And thanks everyone for watching. We'll see you right back here tomorrow.